All right, good Tuesday evening, everybody. It was, trying to adjust my camera here, it was a really hot day today. We hit 100 degrees in Jackson. It's the first time we've done it so far in 2025. Hopefully it'll be the only time we do it, but we weren't alone. Vicksburg hit 100 today, and it was even hotter in the Delta. 101 in Greenville, 102 in Greenwood. At one point in Greenville today, we had temperatures in the low 100s. Dew points were in the low 80s, which is incredibly high. So their heat index made it up over 120 degrees today. That's the reason why we have an extreme heat warning in effect, not only for the Delta, but for actually most of the state of Mississippi. It's going to be in effect at least through sunset tomorrow. We'll see if it's extended or if we just go back down to a heat advisory later this week, because we are expecting a little bit of relief in the form of better coverage of scattered afternoon showers. A little bit of a change there. And then a front, I think, is going to try to make a run at us from the north, and that could cool our temperatures back down to near normal, which would be in the low 90s as we head into the first week of August. So here's a look at what's happening right now. Not much rain around. We do see some rain around the edges of that high, which is now centered over coastal Texas. The fact that the high is centered to the west of us is important because that brings our winds coming in from the north. Winds around high pressure in the northern hemisphere flow in a clockwise fashion. So a lot of times we'll talk about high pressure being to the east, and we have a southerly breeze, high humidity. Well, this time high pressure is to the west. We've got a north breeze, but that's just bringing in hot air from the middle of the continent. So not giving us any relief in terms of that north wind. I do think what is going to happen here is that we're going to see better coverage of scattered afternoon showers that will move from north to south because of that north wind, and we're going to see better coverage of scattered showers because of a little disturbance to the south of us interacting with that hot and humid air. Now, there's still a little bit of rain out there in east Mississippi for this evening, but most of it has died away, and it's going to leave us with partly cloudy skies during the overnight tonight. 86, it's still 86 degrees at almost 11 o'clock at night, and the dew point is 79, 80 degrees. That is incredibly high. There's no wind out there to help us cool down. So the feels like temperature is still technically 100 degrees, although we are going to be gradually cooling down as we go through the overnight. We're looking at lows in the mid 70s at best. Some places may not even be that cool first thing in the morning. And then tomorrow we're thinking at least in the upper 90s again. The average high is 93. We're expecting about 97, 98. So that's about 5 degrees above the average, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when your average high is 93, 5 degrees, it's a lot. So I think most of us are going to be kept out of the 100s tomorrow because of that better chance, or at least better coverage of scattered afternoon storms. We're going to raise the chance to about 40% tomorrow, then 50, and then 60% over the next couple of days. Still, we're going to be above normal, 97 for a high. The heat index over 100 by mid-morning. By midday, it's already going to be over 105, pushing 110 later in the afternoon. Because we have the potential for the heat index to be over 110 degrees over most of the state of Mississippi, that's why we've got this heat warning in effect. If you're not under a heat warning, you're going to be under a heat advisory. So ultimately, it doesn't really matter. Everybody in Mississippi is going to be under a heat alert tomorrow. Of course, I know we've said this a lot, but it just bears repeating that you need to be careful if you're going to be outside. You can suffer heat stress and heat exhaustion in a relatively short amount of time, especially if you're working too hard. You can really overdo it, and your body can start to break down because of that. So what we want you to do is dress for the hot weather. That means light-colored, loose-fitting clothes. The light colors help to reflect the sunlight. The loose-fitting clothing helps your body to sweat more effectively, which is how your body regulates its temperature. So what happens is your body sweats, and the air evaporates that sweat off of your body, and that evaporation process in turn cools your skin. Well, when there's a lot of moisture in the air, the evaporation process is not as efficient. So that water or that sweat just continues to hold on your body, and that holds in the heat. So the higher the moisture content in the air, in other words, the higher the humidity, the higher the dew point, your body just can't do a good enough job sweating and the air doesn't take the sweat off of you as efficiently. So anyway, that's why you need to wear loose fitting clothing, because if you wear tight clothes, it's going to hold in that water or that sweat close to your skin, and you can suffer heat exhaustion because of that. So we also don't want you to drink lots of water, so you stay hydrated. All right, so here's a look at our upper air weather pattern, and we've got high pressure, which is in control across the southern tier of states. Notice the jet stream retreating pretty far to the north, although we're thinking there's going to be a little bit of a dip in the jet stream over the eastern part of the country, allowing a front to come in from the north. And it's not going to do that much at this time of the year. It's late July, early August, but even if it just cools us down a couple of degrees back to near normal, that would be a good thing. And that's actually what's in the forecast. Highs in the low 90s as we head into the first weekend of August. All right, so here's a look at the next couple of afternoons. Notice Wednesday afternoon, scattered showers, mainly over the southern part of the state in response to that little disturbance down to the south in the Gulf. And then we see those storms dissipate after the sun goes down, and then more scattered showers are going to redevelop Thursday afternoon. Again, the coverage should be just a little bit better Thursday, but still these storms are going to be very hit and miss. If you get lucky and you get hit by one, you could pick up a quick maybe 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of rain, and more importantly, at least temporarily, you would cool down just a little bit. We saw that happen a couple of days ago. We had a storm pretty close to Jackson. We cooled down from the upper 90s to the low 80s, but then before the sun went down, we bounced right back up into the mid 90s. So if you get a shower, the cool down may be temporary. All right, let's take a look at the 5-day rain forecast, and basically scattered showers most days, certainly through the end of the week, as we're expecting the coverage to go up Wednesday through Friday. Saturday, the coverage starts to go down, and by Sunday, we're back down to just a stray shower. So for tonight, partly cloudy, mid-70s at best. I mean, some places I think may only drop into the upper 70s to near 80 degrees. And then tomorrow, we're going to see a mix of sun and clouds in the morning, quick warm-up, mid-90s by lunchtime, your high temperature at about 97, and then we get the 40% chance of scattered storms to cool at least some of us down. All right, here's a look at our next 8 days. Chance of rain goes up a little bit. Temperatures do slide a couple of degrees. Then we're hoping that front is going to make enough progress through the area over the weekend, and that would cool us down just a little bit more. So even though the chance of rain actually goes down, temperatures don't actually pop back up immediately. I think we'll see a couple of days where we're going to see lows in the low 70s, highs in the low 90s, which would be at or maybe just a tad bit below normal for early August. And then, of course, by the middle of the week, we'll start to warm back up. So that's what we're looking at for the rest of this week. The good news is you don't see any 100-degree weather here. Temperatures are at least trending in the right direction, which is they're going to be trending down as we head into the month of August. All right, that's going to do it for tonight. Meteorologist Megan Hanna is going to be here tomorrow morning with your next weather update. Have a good night.